Yeah,
here we bloody go. Here we have a bit of an impromptu one. We've decided to do a bit of a Q&A session, and in order to ask those questions to us, we have employed the services of our man, J-Pog.
Hello,
Cheers,
good to be here.
J-Pog.
Thanks for having me.
You're
Cheers.
welcome, geez.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, I'll have a go.
Might as well
then.
get started pretty soon.
Ugh.
But yeah, Jake, just hit us. Give us a cue.
You want me to go straight away?
Yeah, give us a
let's
cue.
just fire away, man. Let's get it done.
Right, let's go. First one from The Life of It. Advice for standing out in film and photography in the scooter industry.
First of all, I think
That's a
that
good
guy's
one.
name is actually The Life of Tit. It's a
It
guy
is.
called Tit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His Life of Tit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's been to MK Street Jam and a lot of events, to be fair.
Oh, I wish
so-
I could read.
Yeah. And I've already forgotten the question.
Right, so rehash. The Life of Tit. Cool. It's the advice for standing out in film and photography in the scooter industry. So what sort of advice would you give
Okay.
to somebody that's looking to maybe
Don't
do something
take
a little bit
pictures
different?
on a phone. Because everybody only takes pictures and films on phones and puts their... What's the thing on Instagram? That filter? Structure? Is that what it
Structure
is?
to 100.
Structure to 100, saturation to 100. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Get an actual camera. Have a dig at it.
Yeah, be present at any event or jam possible. And it's funny you asked that because that guy's been to MK Jam and he's been to a few events.
And he's
actually,
sick.
yeah, he's sick. So he needs to keep doing what he's doing. It also helps with the people that's in front of the lens a lot of the time.
Mm.
If you take the right photo of the right guy and they share it or a brand shares it, then the phone's going to blow up. That's normally what happens. But yeah, be persistent, my dude, and stick at it. And to be fair, you could even reply to that, mate. Because
Yeah, I could even add a few
J-Pog
things
is
into it.
actually the filmer and editor for Scoot Mag many moons ago.
Yeah, you may remember
Actually,
me from
that's-
such
that's a really
productions
good
of
point.
Mad Gear Christmas Party,
What?
ISA.
a video and the golden days.
That's it, ISA
Yeah.
Scooter Championships. I think that was like 2013.
Yeah,
or
but you
something.
go as far back as the OG Scoot Fest at Stoneleigh, mate.
Yeah, the very first
So-
one that was there, I was like helping filming the entire event and doing the live stream camera thing as they were streaming
so
online, which was
To
relatively
reflect the question back at you, Jacob,
new. Yes, sir.
ignoring the scooter part of the question, what makes somebody stand out in general in
I
film
would
and
say-
photography?
Consistency of content, I would say, is that, you know, you don't have to just maybe make like this one really artistic piece that everybody looks at for one moment and then carries on about their life, you know. I'd say if you upload regularly, you know, you have sufficient content, you know, maybe like 2 to 3 minutes, even like an edit, you know, and you're doing that consistently, people will keep coming back because everybody likes routine.
Yeah, of course. Sick. No, yeah, I rate that.
Right,
Hey,
question 2.
question 2, let's go.
Yeah.
I hope that
question.
serves the purpose, that
Right.
answer.
Hopefully I'm not going to butcher the name. Kezdog Fezdog.
That's a good name.
This is really cool.
Whatever the question is, I answer yes.
Yeah.
That's a cracking name.
Worst hate at a skate park or riding. So what's your like pet hates? I think he means, or she means, at a skate park. So what thing like really gets to you, instantly triggers?
Do you want to answer this as riders or just being at
Okay,
a
in
park?
fact, no, I'm going to say a common one, which is people sitting on the fucking ledges and rails. Mostly ledges.
Yep.
That's an obvious one. I think most people can relate to that.
Just because it's ass height doesn't mean it's a bench.
And it's the thing I ride all the time.
And because it is a bench, it still can be ridden. So
Or in general, just go into a skate park and you find out that 7 parents from the area have decided it's actually free kid care for the day. Just dropped off their 5-year-olds. Literally, they haven't got anything with them with wheels. They're just running around.
yeah.
And that's pretty bad. Just because it's dangerous for the kid. You don't want to hurt the kid, do you?
Yeah.
Nah.
That, to be fair, we can answer
it's
those
not the
and stuff,
kids'
but
fault.
they're definitely pet hates. Also,
Yeah.
just dickhead locals that throwing glass about. And,
Yeah,
But
I mean,
regarding
all that
general
stuff
litter.
that comes with it.
regarding fellow users of skate parks, not kids.
But yeah, if we go to that,
Do you know what? I don't want to sound like I dislike other sports because I don't. I love skating and BMXing. But one thing I always noticed when I was growing up is, you know how scooters turned up in skate parks and there was a bit of beef and they got the kids didn't have
it
any
felt
etiquette.
hostile, right?
Didn't have any etiquette at the time, so they
Yeah.
were getting in the way and stuff. And you would fuck up some skaters' BMXers sometimes. But when that kind of passed, if a BMXer, the other end of a skate park, bails a bar spin, he would bail it and just like glance over
was
at a
your
scooter
fault.
rider as though it's that guy's fault 50 feet away. I've seen that happen. It even happens today, like BMX and skateboarders. That happens a lot.
So
But again, I don't hate those two. They're mint sports.
Yeah.
But that does my head in. Even now as a spectator, I just see it happen all the time.
Yeah. So I guess skatepark etiquette as a whole, and then just hostile vibes. They suck.
That guy's bright t-shirt's really throwing me off on that scooter.
What, Claudius?
Which, to be honest, I think is lessening in general the hostility, because we've definitely solidified as a sport nowadays.
Yeah.
Everyone knows where
Me and J-Pog have had our fair share of beef growing up, haven't we?
Yeah, fair amount. There was
that's one for another podcast.
It really does. It does boil up, and like after a while, you just sort of want to get there and ride and do your thing and make content and whatever, and then suddenly you've got somebody else that makes you their problem, and
we've had some fun,
and you have to deal with that. Yeah, sadly,
especially when you've got someone like Danny Roberts who is a roid head at the skate park. He's just looking for problems.
Times have changed. Ain't that right, Jake?
He's looking for that next scrap.
Do you know how many times I see that vein, which he is conveniently covering up with a beanie today, stick out of his head in rage?
You've got it too. You've got that. I think everyone obviously
Super Saiyan vein
anatomically has that vein, but some people have it so pronounced. The V vein, like the.
Shout out to Demps. He knows about that.
Some people's vein sticks out. It basically punches the guy next to you in the head.
Some say it's the last thing you see.
It is. Yeah.
Next question.
Move on.
Long as fuck to answer.
Oh, this one's pretty good. At dude have fun _ at the end, or is that a squiggle from my pen? Find out next time. The dark shitstorm side of brands that you don't normally see as a consumer. Do you know anything that any stories or things that are going wrong in the background that riders don't necessarily see that side of? Maybe bad deals going on and people being, short-handed.
That's a really interesting question.
That's a deep one.
Danny and I have said a few times we're going to shed light on that kind of area that people don't know a lot about. I feel a little bit inclined to kind of avoid that subject for the time being.
Yeah.
Most things that I'm involved in, just to make this really clear, most things I'm involved in, people that I know and businesses I get in touch with and stuff like that, everyone's really like above board and everyone's really good. No one's that much
the
of a
companies
dick.
that came through and were dicks have already been pushed away for that reason.
I think a lot of brands and companies and distributors and whatever are branded like that, and it's completely not true at all. I can almost answer the reverse of that question. But no, I for now I think that might be for a later episode.
Yeah,
but for now,
it is a really interesting question.
It is a good question.
You could go into quite a lot on there, but then
that in
never
itself
know
is
spend a whole podcast.
That's what I'm about to say. That whole question could be an episode, so we'll save that one for a bit.
Yeah.
Right, let's go on to the next piece.
Around it. And so for the next question, we've got from the Mr. Benny. Where is the most interesting place? This is actually quite a detailed one that you can interpret. Where is the most interesting place you've been because of scootering? So not necessarily what skate park you've been, or the fact that you've ended up in a certain location because of, you're there to go and ride some other skate park somewhere else or whatever. But scootering is the reason you're there, and what is it?
I actually could say back in 2011 to California and Las Vegas. And weirdly enough, that was a Scoot Mag and Grit tour, and it's when I was with Dakota, Hunter.
Is that when Lewis
Jeremy
brought back the kicklesses?
It actually is.
It was that video, wasn't it?
They spent the whole trip.
Was it not you that filmed it?
That was the revival of Kickless Rewinds. No, I wasn't there. No, not that one. But
who did it?
But basically, him and Kota.
Did you do it? Who filmed that video?
I think I do a Kickless, bro.
No, Danny filmed that video because it was back when like times were you had to condense the team down if you really wanted to travel, but you really needed to travel out to get that really good content.
Yeah, so literally that. But yeah, honestly, Cali and Vegas that's a big highlight for scooters, and that was when Scoot Mag was literally blowing up. So I was with Andy Stretton and Dan Maker, Nathan Weston, Smiley, Jeremy Millard,
what a bunch of people,
Dakota, and then we met up with a load of other like dudes out there, and it was good vibes the whole time. We tried living Kota's life at that stage, and I lasted about a whole 2 days because my knee basically blew out. But I ended up
riding
filming
for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, literally that. And then we filmed for them 2 videos. But for me, that was definitely a highlight in scooters.
What was the wording of the question? What's the whattest place?
What's the most interesting place? So take that word wherever you want.
He's got way more than
interesting.
Me, but for me, that was interesting because Vegas at that age was wild.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, like 12, 13? How old were you?
About 18, but yeah.
No, I reckon I still attribute basically everything that I do, even outside of scooters now, to scooters in the first place still, because like it was scooters that first put me on a plane. I went to America in 2011. When were you there in 2011? What did you say 2011?
I'm pretty sure it was 2011. Yeah.
It was. That's mad because I was there also in 2011.
We weren't mates, mate.
I don't think. Yeah, are we?
So
Are we now?
No, we're not. Look at what you're wearing.
We'll save that
I
one
just
for
got told
later.
there'd be food here.
Yeah, Binks' mum made flapjack.
Shout out.
Anyway, to get back to the point.
Binky's mum's flaps.
To get back to the point swiftly. No, I reckon because it was.
I can just see him. He's giving me the evil. So. The flapjack was actually really good.
It was.
Let's say
The whole's been
It's
flaps
too late.
aside.
Just leave it.
Yeah, the flapjack was really good. Sorry,
Digging
continue, man.
So it was scooters the first point we were on a plane. It was scooters in the first place that made me travel via trains the length and breadth of the country. They kind of taught me how to travel, and so I don't think I ever would have got on a plane if it wasn't for scooters. If I did, it would be a holiday to Mallorca.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get to places like Iraq or wherever,
Yeah.
like I still consider that a product of Scootering, even though I've not got a scooter with me. But
Yeah.
as far as scooters themselves are concerned, probably Israel and Palestine. I went back in 2016 for the first time, I think, and I kind of turned up there with my scooter, but I wasn't planning to ride. I was there as a tourist. And then I got a message. I put a picture on Instagram of like my Visa card when I arrived, and just said, "Oh, this will be interesting." And literally 20 people must have DM'd me straight away. Scooter riders from Israel.
That's
mad. They were like, "Oh, hey, are you here to ride? Come to the skate park. Come to the skate park." And I was like, because I wasn't there to ride, but I had my scooter anyway, and I was like, "That's really weird. I didn't know anyone would be here."
Mm-hmm.
So then one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
And it was fucking sick.
Yeah, it turns out they had a
There
solid
was
scene,
such
right?
a sick scene. There was I got there and there's maybe like 30, 40 kids, whatever. A lot of them were really, really good that obviously I never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And their scene there's mad. And that was one of the places that made me realise to go to the Iraq thing later on. That was like, I went there a bit like anticipating it, like a bit apprehensive, whatever the place. And then the kids there were just normal scooter kids, and the people there were normal people, and it was a good time in general.
Being like, yeah, life
And
is
so-
just normal here.
And so that place in itself is really interesting. I think Dylan Morrison went at some point. A few people have been since. But at the time, that was a really big thing for me personally, and also for me as a scooter rider. I was like, oh shit, scootering is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
What
in
about
the Middle East.
downhill toboggan course though? That must have been an experience.
Oh, that was Bosnia.
Yeah, but that
That
must
was
have been sick.
fat. Yeah, I know you're
Did
right.
you
That was
stumble
pretty
across it,
interesting.
or was that something you'd already googled?
I keep seeing those videos on social
knew-
media where people would have like the GoPro and then they're just going down like these like cement runways or something like that.
You've probably
Yeah.
seen it a couple months ago because Willie and Clayton went, two guys from Undialed.
Right.
And I believe they went because I spoke to Willie about it a couple of years ago when I did it. And he wanted to go at some point. He asked me where it was and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they went and gave it a go. And yeah, it was sick. I knew there was a bobsled track from the 1980s when it was still Yugoslavia. And I knew that it existed because they don't dare take it down because it's surrounded by landmines. And they can't be asked with all the equipment to get rid of the landmines to get rid of the bobsled tracks. They just keep the bobsled track there in the mountains. And so you go there and you roll down a little bit of it and you're like, well, the concrete's pretty good. It's full of leaves, it's a bit wet. It was 0 degrees when I did it, so it's pretty slippery anyway. But like after a while, you just kind of roll in and you end up maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 miles an hour. And you're like, hold on, I don't know how, if this just ends somewhere. They might have taken down some of it, whatever.
Ooh.
So you're just mobbing. I had 4 pegs. I nearly fucking just pegged. You know when you go around a berm or a bowl corner, hit your
A
pegs.
remake of our Barcelona hill bomb,
Deadly.
by the way.
But yeah,
Was it similar
no,
to that?
that's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up because that was a mint place. I knew that existed a bit, but I didn't know to what extent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
of course.
Eventually you get to the bottom, and then it's such a long way back to the top. You're like, I could
Yeah, but now
go
you're
again.
kitted out for bobsleighing. Look at your outfit.
That's literally what I'm going after this. I'm going to get on a plane tomorrow and I'm off to do it again. Backwards.
Shout out to Audi for the hat, by the way.
Fucking fat in it.
Fresh.
Fat.
Next question,
Big shout to
please.
Audi.
You're like the Rachel Riley, just male version. You handsome devil.
Just smiling and nodding, everything.
You look hot.
So sledding in. Sledding in.
How many
Bosnia
points is that for countdown?
How many points is that? Countdown. I'll give you 5.
5.2. Standard as fuck.
We're getting pretty complex here. Explain the deck pins phase.
Again, that's all
What
him.
is that?
I've
Like,
never
I
actually
rode-
rode deck
Yeah,
pins.
I
because
rode
that's
deck
pins
always
at your
house.
Cringe.
What?
On
Like,
your mini ramp.
painful.
Oh, my mini ramp. Yeah, big shout out to my old mini ramp.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
that
I think we
was
spoke about this JPOG in a few podcasts.
Do you
already,
remember
but
when I was learning inward airs?
very lucky to get that.
Inward airs on his mini ramp.
you was learning that?
Yeah, you was there.
I think
it's when we played that game of Scoot, me and Matt Wiles.
Oh, the
and
drunken version.
Yeah, and every letter we got, we had to do
You doing it inward.
accumulated shot.
I cannot picture in my head.
So it was like, if you got an S, you had to do a shot. SC, 2 shots
And then,
again.
Yeah.
SEO, and we did it, and we filmed it all, and then Matt didn't want it published, did he?
No, because he's shook.
Because he
Big on
lost.
Matt Wiles. And he
Yeah,
lost,
big on Matt Wiles.
You guys got absolutely blasted.
Sorry, what was the
over
question?
a game of
deck
game of
pins.
Scoot and
Deck pins.
Yeah, deck pins. That was it.
Yeah, so basically that was just...
from Muzzle Chris.
Cheers, Muzzle Chris.
Chris.
Yeah, the deck pins were sick. I just, on bikes, bike pedals, they got pedal pins.
Yeah.
I just tried to put them on a scooter and it worked.
Yeah.
I don't think I was the first person to do it.
Oh yeah, it's just come back.
But I didn't have grip tape.
I
remember.
was taking photos on your
Yeah,
revamp of his
And
setup.
it was the...
I remember that,
I
yeah.
turned up with a purple and like really weird paint job
Oh, it looks sick.
scooter.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a dotted effect.
And yeah, I know I had deck pins for a long time though. They were
And
just pretty solid. They were good to use.
Was
They
it
were-
as effective as grip tape?
Yeah. Did it
yeah,
work?
more so because in the wet it doesn't affect
No,
it.
yeah, of course. But you're like, it's weird because you don't do like finger whips or anything. But at any point, did you have a disgusting bail or like a...
Right, listen,
do you know what
because
I mean?
I've
Like
had
a
that.
fingernail
I used to
catch?
have that a lot. What about finger whips? What about hitting you in the shins, something, right? On finger whips, how often have you finger whipped and like grazed your fingers across
Every
the grip
time
tape?
I put a new grip tape and it fucking sucks.
What, on top of the grip tape?
I've done it so many times. I've left so much dead skin on my grip
Yeah.
tape.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have never been able to finger whip.
So, yeah.
So
So
it's
if you
not a
don't finger
problem.
whip, get deck pins.
If you don't do any tricks at all, you get deck pins. No, it's fine though. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
same, everyone was like, "Oh, what if you land on your shins on your deck?" It's like, tell me one time that's ever happened to anybody. It doesn't
If you
happen.
do too many finger whips and you won't be able to unlock your phone via the Touch ID. That's it. It's just gone.
It's good if you want to be a serial killer though.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. You can
You're not
burgle
wrong.
houses without wearing.
But no, deck pin is just a different. I tried something different. Let's see what it is. If
But
it
would
was
you
going to work.
recommend
It looked cool though.
Yeah, I think deck pins are sick. Do it in the right formation. If you do have enough deck pins, not too many. Have them sticking out the right amount, whatever. But you can practice that a bit. You can tweak them, whatever.
Okay, sick.
I'd recommend that. But yeah, deck pins are pretty sick.
Chilling. Next question, B.
Next question from D_Witten.
David.
David.
David, what a bloke.
Yeah.
Lots of love for David here. Favorite scooter picture?
Good
in those
question.
3 words. I did
Good
condense
question.
it down a little bit, but it's in 2 parts. So
What's the second part?
I get there. You can probably
Okay,
guess it's
I'm
not
going
that
to start
exciting.
with one. That the reason why this stands out to me is because I was actually in a Scoot Mag competition against this photo, and it is of Binks. You might remember this. Choco BM wall rides down that fat stair set.
Give us some of that.
Yeah, but right. Listen, not to take away from that photo because it's mad and
You know which one I'm on
gigantic-
about, right?
Yeah, gigantic balls for trying it. But Jake might have an input on this as well as you, Danny.
Yeah.
He didn't land it though.
And this is why that competition got a bit out of hand.
Why? What's happened?
This is controversy.
We can't go deep into this.
No, I remember this. It was a vote for competition, wasn't it? And
Mate, this got out of hand. I don't know how much of this can be publicised. Cheers.
send it. I'm curious.
You want to know?
I want to know.
So basically, Binks knows full well, which is why he's sat there biting his nails. We had a
Cheek to
Scoot Mag
cheek.
competition, and obviously people entered their photo. And then, am I right in saying there was 4 photos, Binks, in total? And obviously there was up for like a cash prize. And Choco BM was one of them. I was in there with the back 180 over the bench, but it had like the rainbow, zero, like barely any editing. It was actually like a really clean photo. And then, yeah, basically there was a voting system, right? And obviously the French boys, big up to them because their movement's sick and they always show support to one another. And it was between us, like super tight, right? This is where it gets pretty deep because basically the votes on the French photo like rocketed, like more than the fucking people and population of scooter riders that actually live there. Like it got a little bit like questionable.
So what you're saying is they cheated.
Whoa, yeah. And then I don't even want to name names right now, but one of my guys that I was real tight with at the time, a bit of a tech wizard, found a way as well. And then we realised that holy shit, this whole thing's rigged. And next thing you know, there was a way to vote more than once as one user.
So then
And
you cheated.
all of a sudden, everyone's votes, mate, rocketed.
Everyone found out the meta of...
Everyone found out their meta, and then all of us, like the amount of votes to actual photo, there probably weren't even that many scooter riders at this point. It was getting out of hand, and it completely took the fun out of this little photo competition. And then it became France versus England versus fucking whatever other people entered, And it got a bit weird, didn't it? It got a bit sour. And do you remember this?
So
I think I do remember little bits of this. Like it was like battle of the extra usernames that you
yeah,
create.
extra usernames and incognito.
So is Choco's photo one of your favourites?
That incognito guy
no,
seen
but
too much.
the reason why it was just gnarly as fuck at that time, and that was one of the first photos that always stands out to me, not just because of the competition, because of how bait it was. I mean, if we want to actually go through photographers, then again, we could be here for a whole podcast, because I've got a lot saved to my camera roll and a lot in magazines, and Martin Kimball will always
I
be
know
up
what's
there.
on your camera roll in your hidden folder.
And we're back.
Yeah, scooters and all that.
Yeah, right. So to return to
But
the question,
no,
Danny,
it's up there,
Everyone's
not
got a
because of
hidden
this,
folder.
because of that. The actual trick itself, it was bait, regardless of whatever the outcome was.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to pick an old Terry one, which would have been before you existed in the scooter world, because they used to make. When did you start riding, Jake? Is it before Danny or after?
I think it was after.
It used to
Danny.
be an inline skater.
Well,
yeah, I used to
Micro
do a
used to
lot of
make
inline.
posters. They had like a Matt McKean one doing a board slide at Montreux. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a really nice photo in front of mountains. He did a board slide on that rail next to the river,
Oh,
next
that's
to
a
the lake.
peng photo.
At the same
There's
time, there was
so
Terry
many
doing hand
photos.
plants and wall ride gaps and like favorite.
This is
really hard to pick a favorite, because there are
Do you know
so
what?
many sick photographers. Shelby
Yeah.
Grims has done sick ones at Adrenaline Alley.
Yeah, no, she does sick ones everywhere. She's
No,
amazing.
yeah, but at Adrenaline Alley, there's one where it's like the whole background is like black. It could have even been half bars. It was like a fat invert, maybe.
Yeah, no, she's
Right.
and honestly, I could
Crazy.
pick 100 photos that she's done that are sick. I'm gonna
Oh,
broaden this question.
Paul
a little.
Athenia. Sorry to put in.
Yeah,
What a guy.
He takes some
well,
really
yeah,
good photos.
yeah. This is my point.
Yeah.
I'm about to make is I want to
Okay.
broaden this a little bit and just say favorite photographer and scootering, just to make it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Martin Kimball. As much as
Yeah.
I love Shelby's photos, Paul's photos, everyone, Martin was a photographer before anybody was ever a photographer, and he took such iconic shots that I think he posted them today.
Yeah.
They're mad.
Yeah.
And he
Also
he
made it
kind
onto
of,
Union Tees, right? Long
Yeah.
exposure ones.
yeah, we used him for a couple of photos.
Really cool.
Yeah, no, I think Martin's probably my favorite photographer.
Yeah, he holds it down.
Who's your
Cameron
shout?
McRobbie.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, he's another dude that's killing it.
Who's your favorite though?
In all time?
Yeah,
Probably Paul.
do you reckon?
Paul Athenia.
No, I don't doubt that.
He took
I'm not
photos
surprised.
with Neymar and stuff like that, and it's fucked.
Kareem was there, you know.
Yeah.
Hold on, side subject.
Obviously,
Get back on
Kareem-
subject.
Kareem.
Kareem's
Right.
telling me, but yeah,
Kareem of
Paul
the crop.
Athenia
Kareem
and
of
Martin
the crop.
Kimball, them guys are sick.
So the second part of this.
Oh,
if,
the second part.
If you wanted a second part, or have you got any more?
No, that's it. Go
For
second
your,
part.
there's a lot of sick photographers, but
There is a lot of sick photographers and sick photos, obviously, that result from those. So it's
Mhm.
really hard to really narrow it down. So I feel like you guys have answered it the best way by saying a photographer
Graham
rather
Kimball
than a
when
specific
he used the
photo.
sparkler on his scooter or the long exposure.
Yeah, that's Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Martin, but that photo's
Yeah.
dope. Anyway,
Yeah, he
let's
was
bounce
doing
on
all
to the
those
next.
really cool ideas with long exposure,
Yeah.
like just way before anyone else thought of it.
So
And
sick.
he was right at the front. Yeah. Favorite video?
Is that the second part of the question?
It is.
Favorite video
Favorite video?
of ever.
A scooter video ever. Yeah, it's pretty broad, so
I'm gonna
feel free to take it wherever you want.
I'm gonna try narrow this one down to a few, but obviously Matt McKean, Dream Team
I won't be
Supreme.
offended.
Terry Price mini vid, of course, it got me into riding.
Yeah. Video still has
Zach
up to
Martin, Binks again can relate to this one. When that came out, that was like the closest to like if scooters had like a Thrasher magazine, it would have been on there and it would have just blown up like it did anyway. But Zach Martin's Wasted Grippers, maybe, that video is fucking gnarly. Like, that's so sick. They stand out to me, but you go for it,
This-
dude, 'cause
This is a difficult question. The question's favorite, not best, right?
Favorite. Your personal favorite.
Right, I've got a couple. One of them, no one's gonna know any of them. One of them's Jonathan Jacobs. He did a micro sponsor video, 2000. It must be 2005, 2006.
Yep.
That was mint. Matt Andrus, same
Mhm.
kind of time. He was doing a lot of nose grabs. That's what inspired me a bit.
Yeah.
Daniel Warwick, who
Ooh, yeah.
sadly passed away a few years ago after I started speaking to him. He was also a big influence for me, and his videos in general are my favourites because there's a lot of Bossmans and manuals. Ever seen a Daniel Warwick, Jonathan Jacobs on Matt Andrus video, you'll know why I did weird shit like I did. One I could watch all the time, it's probably like the Mad Gear Euro Tour video or
Vibes.
basically most things by Graham. Maybe Graham's Mad UK video.
Yeah.
A couple of those ones.
He's a wizard,
Those are
isn't he?
really good. Yeah, those
And
are
he
really
has
good
produced
videos.
some of the best content.
This is something we could discuss for hours. I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'd
put
also
between
like
those
to
ones.
shout out the Alchemist and Hask video.
Yeah, they're fat.
I thought that was a really good video, and
Yeah.
that was like the pinnacle of, okay, we're going in the right direction back in however many years ago that was.
Yeah, so we've got a handful. We're not very good at this question thing, are we?
No, we can't really pinpoint. Obviously, there's a
They're
few
broad
that stand
questions,
out,
so
but
take it down
Yeah.
whatever route
Yeah,
you want.
fine. So keep it moving. What we got?
Because like for me, it would have been like probably some like Benjay's videos, just because of the backdrop that
Yeah,
was there. Like it was
for
just
sure.
absolutely epic. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all
yeah.
of his snow
Well, the
scooter
snow ski
stuff
ones.
was just
no,
amazing.
but even
yeah.
his videos beforehand,
Yeah.
he was riding skate parks, had like
The
mountains in
skate
the
parks
background
had
and
all of
shit.
that
It was
backdrop in
mad.
there,
You know
just
something
for free.
magical?
You know,
Something magical about Benji's videos is he mentioned to me once that he, in like most of his videos, he'll do one bar spin or no bar spins.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, I don't know, we've both got tricks that people might have just not noticed that we can't do or just assume we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Like me with nose manis or you with
Dan
flares,
with backflips.
double flares.
Yeah, Dan with backflips. He's been asked to do so many backflips and flares.
But anyway,
Imagine me off axis.
Benji could do everything in the world, and he pointed out to me once that he never did a bar spin, and it's one of those things you go back and watch. It's like seeing the twist of a film, and you go back and watch it, and you're like, shit, he doesn't do any bar spins.
Mm.
It's mad.
So the next question is, this is from the Cigarette Lord 666 version 3, not the
Nice.
name his mother gave him. Opinions on the head bob fake steez Thanger, which I
Now that's a 29 question.
assume
That's 2019 question.
I'm
right?
gonna have to
So,
sing is
2019
thing. Thanger is
question.
thing.
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
translation. So
Nice.
what's the question? The Steez head bob.
It's when
What's
you've
your
s-
opinion on this head bob fake steez?
You've seen it on thumbnails, mate, where they just sloop it. Right, can I just say Shorty, yeah? Devin Heald in America. He was the one that naturally, I don't know if it's naturally, but I don't know if you remember him from
Juzzy?
Tilt Scooters. No,
Mm.
Drizzy can do it too. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. He's the god of scooters and looks a bit like God. But Shorty thinks you can relate to this one. Devin Heald, right, from Tilt. This guy is a sick skateboarder and obviously a dead good scooter rider. And he, like, I remember watching his footage, and he would land and he would just fucking swoop to the side of the scooter and like bounce his head like a duck does in water, mate. One of them ones. And then
Right.
obviously,
And that's a thing now.
yeah,
Right, yeah, but do you think it's put on because those guys do it? Or do you think people film a clip, it looks like that after they filmed it anyway, and they've gone, oh, it's accepted now, I'll just do it, rather than doing it again? What do you reckon?
it's forced. Obviously, it's forced.
So why
When
do
have
you
you
not...
ever landed, mate, and almost headbutted your kneecaps?
So why do you not think it's forced for Juzzy or Devin?
Well, he comes from a skateboard background, so he's
Skaters never land like that.
So what
no,
is
no,
it?
obviously
I'm not-
because
I'm
he's
not
got handlebars. But what I'm saying is, obviously, it could be forced. It's the same as we've seen it before with some riders. I'm not going to pick out names, but like they'll land and stay compressed. You already know who I'm thinking.
I
of.
know exactly who you're thinking of.
Yeah,
I got that.
so they will land and stay compressed, right? That's forced steez. Because
I know what forced steez is. I know about the head thing. Because
yeah, and
right,
you want to know my opinion on it, and I think it's pretty fake.
Do they normally
9
come
times
together?
out of 10? But what I'm saying is, if anyone's going to do it, or it's going to be done right, it would be from someone like Shorty, or maybe Juzzy. Because let's face it, if you've got long hair, you've got to work with that. My guy's got the sickest hair.
Yeah, but my point is, and just to play devil's advocate, because obviously I love both those guys,
Mm-hmm.
but if that's starting to become a trend, what makes you think they're not faking it in other clips afterwards? Just
Oh
so
no,
everyone
yeah,
else
I
is
get
doing it?
that. Maybe they are.
Where do you think they got it from?
I think I think the things that Juzzy does, his body lands in such awkward positions because he's doing things that are out of this fucking
He's
galaxy.
a bit like an owl, but with his hips.
Yeah,
Like he could do a full 180.
He can pull late spins out of his arse and
Yeah.
just land to it. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Can you?
And so I know what Danny does. What Danny means. He's done about landing heel whips straight, flat, and doing that. And I know the point. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I disagree with it, but like, I don't know. Maybe some people just end up doing it and just go, meh, it's allowed nowadays. I'm just going to post that.
Yeah, which, like I said, it's a free world, isn't it? People can do what they want. But what I'm getting at is only a few people can get away with it, whether it's forced or not. And I feel like
Fine.
9 times out of
Yeah.
10 it's forced or a little bit fake. But like, no matter what trick we do, we're always going to land and compress. But whether you're going to land and then fucking headbutt your knees, that's down to you, isn't it? Only a few people's going to make it look good. That's what I'm getting at. The rest of the people, it's going to look shit and fake.
All right. J-Pog's got something to say about it.
Well, in terms of like biomechanics, it doesn't really work well at all. It's just to land and stay compressed down
and
there.
this is coming from someone that is a specialist in this, so he can actually tell us from knowing the anatomy and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we're not
the fact
talking
that you don't
about.
spring back is just going to wreak havoc for your joints. At all.
Yeah, so it looks good for a few seconds, but it's going to hurt for a few minutes.
Can you show me a video of it? Have you got
We'll do it afterwards.
a clip? Yeah.
But anyway, your point stands.
That's your job, mate. Find him a sick video where someone
does the bob.
Jake's point stands if it's not about someone from El Toro, but people who hit El Toro don't do the fake steez thing. The fake steez thing comes from people who jump off ledges.
If I jumped El Toro, I would stay down until I'm literally in A&E, because that shit would fucking break me.
If me and you jumped El Toro...
no, if you jumped El Toro, you would be dust at the bottom. I would be sweeping your bones, mate.
If we both jumped at the same time, side by side, hand in hand if you want,
yes, please.
Who would come off worse?
That's such a silly question. I got ID'd literally about half an hour ago, and you didn't, because you look about 46.
And I've got a boiler suit on.
Were you still wearing the...
You had the same outfit. It's like taking my autistic dad.
I've taken off about
Anybody listening, Lewis is wearing a full boiler suit.
They've already seen
it. If you've ever been skiing
and
you get one of those full onesies.
Lewis is wearing a fucking sick bodysuit.
It is sick, to be fair, and it fits him a fucking treat. But if me and him done El Toro, he's dying. All right, I'm not saying I won't die. I'm gonna have to recover for a few months.
For aesthetics over function.
He is crumbling to dust, and I'm gonna sweep his bone debris away from the spot.
All right, and on that note, next question, please, Jacob.
You want to go to the next one?
Yeah, okay. I do. Fuck him jumping out Toro, bruv. Come on, the seats.
So some of these questions were directed at either one of you specifically. So
that's cute.
I'll go for Lewis. I'm gonna butcher that name. So Jay Haskane.
Oh, I know that. Yeah,
did I say it right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Right,
probably.
okay.
As far as I know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just Instagram handles. Isn't it? Favorite moment in Estonia, if you had one at all, because that's pretty specific. Cause
yeah, I've been, have you?
No,
it's not.
No people
been,
from it.
I think I know what's coming. I think I know what's coming. I can tell everyone.
I've heard of like wild lake parties.
Shall I tell?
I'm turning your mic off. You say another word. My favorite moment in Estonia is the time. Binks knows what it is.
Everyone's heard this.
Everyone's leaning.
No one's heard this.
Everyone's leaning forward on their chairs.
Here's the reason I like alcohol. Genuinely can tolerate his voice.
Is that time Jake, entered a contest once in Viljandi, and I won it, and second place was Rumet Salik, of all people.
Knew it was coming.
He's heard this so many times.
Oh my god.
Yep. And do you know what? It was the only contest I've ever won. And but I believe that Rumet Salik guy, I think he got third at Worlds next year. So basically puts me second in the world.
What year was that?
2016.
Nice. So we've got 2016's top rider here
in Estonia.
Give it a rest. There's probably about 6 people.
I'm really sorry for roasting your boiler suit.
Technically, it's 2016's best rider who was in Viljandi on that day in Estonia. However, I won €300 and I went out and we bought a few bottles of 60% Estonian liquor and some fast glasses and some fried potatoes.
Oh,
and that's
to the boy that you.
And that's
who's you with?
Harley.
Man like Harley, I knew it was him. What a guy! I remember seeing the
in general,
and the scenes.
Apart from the fact that I beat Rumet Salik, every single moment in Estonia,
you're gonna hear that for a long time.
Is my favourite moment. Estonia's brilliant.
And the hill bomb with Felix through.
I didn't do that.
Huh?
That was Felix and Harley. I didn't do that.
No, but how wild was that?
Oh, yeah, it's mad. Steepest street in Europe, I think.
Would you do? Wait. Would you do the hill bomb or El Toro if you had to do one?
Hill bomb in this fucking suit.
You'd be sorted.
With deck pins.
So streamlined.
Yeah. There you go.
Streamlined. So anyway, Estonia's fat.
Those 2 words have just sparked up a memory. Hill bomb and stuff. I remember of other hill bombs that haven't gone well for Lewis.
Barcelona.
I think it went worse for Danny
because of him. What when he tried?
I remember you two sort of crashing into each other.
No,
somebody didn't have a hand.
He fucked up because he tried jumping the zebra crossing the long way because he was going about 30 miles an hour, but he was in front of me, and obviously with his fucking terrible vision and
Basically,
bad balance,
I'll tell you what.
came a cropper, and then I had to fucking dodge him, which required him running at about 30 miles per hour, banging the scooter off my shins, and his hands pissing
I'd
blood.
like to offer my version of
It was
events.
about 2 in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was dark, pitch black, doing this hill bomb, get right to the bottom. Everyone thinks I've done it. It's mint. Best hill bomb in the world, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fat.
Like, the city lights were just like incredible.
Magic.
From there, like, you
I
see
think
it all.
Luke painted a hang five. No, he didn't hang five it. He filmed the whole thing with one hand, didn't he, on his scooter?
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
which is
Benjay
mad.
also gave us lights from Micro that time.
And Choco's wheel got burnt. Anyway,
Oh my god.
right, side
wild.
subject. Danny
Guess.
was behind me, gunning for my rectum, and
I've
he
always
was
wanted
just
that.
eyes on the prize, right? And
The V is fixated.
And I got a bit excited because I was gonna. We'd done it. We'd done the whole thing. I was like, "Oh, I'm going pretty fast. I could jump this zebra crossing long ways."
Yeah, sure.
Go to jump it. You know when you pull up and then just don't level out again. So you just do that and just end up like that on your back wheel. I don't think I ran away at all. I think I literally just slid on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine a 50-meter long handstand.
Yeah.
Because I had no palm left.
He literally didn't. It's piss and blood.
But
Pretty
Danny was behind me and was like running off his scoot. My scoot was left long behind me.
gross.
I was about 45 miles away on one hand, right?
Yeah.
And Danny shinned my scoot. And
So
then
good job on my flame because I
he
haven't run
hasn't
that quick
shut
ever.
he hasn't shut up about it since. So
No, that's a lie. Because the first hill bomb I done at that sort of pace with Lewis, one I
Lewis is
almost
going.
died because I smacked into the metal bollards on the side, and if they weren't there, I would have fell off a cliff. And then the other one,
Yep.
he had his
Yeah.
Razor Ultra Pro, and my guy's back heavy, as we all know. He used to do a lot of manuals and
Loves
stuff.
to do manuals, but couldn't hack that.
Imagine a Razor
a
Ultra
really
Pro
long manual.
brake that had been stood on for about maybe like 4 minutes down a hill at about 20 miles an hour. Then to greet me at the bottom of the hill, puts it on the back of my arm. Obviously, my skin sticks to it.
well,
He's a fucking idiot.
the thing is, the reason I greeted him at the bottom of the hill was because I was way faster and I
Yeah,
got
my
there at the
first
bottom.
degree-
And then Danny turns up and I go, Danny, do you think this is hot?
He's a waste man.
So we did a scientific experiment. It was for the good of mankind.
It was to just see, if a hot break
Would
affects
peel
the
skin off.
When was that?
Danny's skin.
20...
That's 2012.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Damn.
I was 18.
That was a sick trip.
Remember not
That was a
being
great
a
trip.
million
Mm.
years old?
Remember what?
Not being a million
Remember
years
not
old?
being tired.
Yeah.
No.
I'm pretty tired now.
Born
Yeah.
tired.
Next question,
That's fair
please.
enough.
Next question. Come on.
Next question.
Sleepy.
In fact,
This shoehorns in pretty well, actually, this next question. What were
Alright.
you going to say? In fact,
I want a spicy question. Because one thing we should
you want a spicy one?
one thing we should explain is that before this, as well as the Q&A through Instagram, Danny and I also submitted a couple of questions each towards one another that the other one doesn't know about yet.
He wants spicy.
And I would like...
Give it a go then, Jeff.
I think we should just...
I'd be
give-
careful before introducing this.
Do you know what? I'm ready for anything.
Born
Okay.
ready. So go on,
Alright, you
J
want,
Pod.
alright, okay, so I'm going to turn my page over to the
Oh,
dark
no.
side.
What have you asked me?
No, it's not even that bad, to be fair. I tried to
Of
be
this one.
inspirational, insightful, and fruity.
You want one first, right?
No,
Okay.
he's asked for it. It wasn't me.
Okay,
Yeah,
doing
go for it.
I'm
Do
I'm
one each
easy.
now.
He's the front man.
I'll go
Say
first.
no more?
Danny can go next.
Is this word? Is this word? Is this one advice?
Advice.
Yeah, great. So,
Is that the one you're going to ask?
I'll ask this one first. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's calm. That's calm.
So, what is the best advice you've ever been given?
Told you, it's insightful.
We're gonna start
By
off
whom?
subtle.
In Scootering or everywhere?
No. Just in general, like maybe something that you can live from or provide to the viewers.
I thought from everyone's reaction when I asked for that question,
No, because
I was going to get asked for my knob size or something.
Oh no,
You
it's
wanna answer
coming.
that?
Yeah, no. You just give us
Which one?
time.
fucking tiny. Anyway, go on.
Best advice that you've been given. We'll get into that. We'll get
That's a
into
very
the fun
difficult
stuff.
question.
The more
I-
you drink,
I basically live off quotes from books that I've read.
This is why
whatever.
you're good to answer this.
I
though.
quite like
Even the film, your favourite film. There's a
Into
quote
the
from-
Wild,
Yeah.
best
there's
film of all time. I think one of my favourite quotes of all time from a film is Miss Nobody, the one I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
Everything works out in the end, even badly. Basically,
Perfect.
fuck it. Because
Perfect.
it's going to end up somehow. Like, you're not... Do you know what?
Yep.
It sounds pretty hollow, but it's just pretty, open.
Self-explanatory.
Just give it a
and there's
go.
no
See what
point.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it don't work out very well, just do something else afterwards.
And you
but
can
just
say
follow
you've
it
tried
through for a bit. Exactly.
There you go, geese.
That's probably among. Thing is, I've got 1 million, but
give us one more then if you've got 1 million.
This could go on for a long time.
No, essentially, it's Murphy's Law. You know,
which
like
is
anything that can happen will happen.
Yeah.
So it means
there's no point dreading it or worrying about it, because ultimately something will happen, and if it's shit, don't worry about it. You can do something else. If it's good, go with the flow.
And that's exactly what's happened with this. I mean, we've ended up going, let's do a little podcast interview conversation thing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we've got a big orange question mark in the middle of the fucking table. And we're just sat, I don't even know what's in my glass. I don't know what you've poured me, but we're just.
And not only that, but you brought us together with J-Pog. We got Binks and this is vibes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that advice, as I've interpreted it, was pretty valuable for things like this.
Next one.
Love it. So I'm going to switch gears. What's your favourite sex position? Wrong gear.
Oh, bloody hell.
It was just so we covered every base on these questions.
I'm alarmed by that because I believe tonight I'm staying in Danny's bed. So I'm not answering that question.
I'm fruity. I'm down. No, go on. You're not answering the question, no?
No, I'm not answering that. No, because you're going to bone me tonight.
He's boring. It's missionary.
All right, I'm asking for. All right, I'm going to ask it broadly then.
You should know that, Dan.
If you're not going to chirp up with the actual answer,
you're not going to give one.
Well, you should know it.
I shouldn't. Well, yeah, I know it with you. But
he's
boring.
Looking at Danny for all those that are listening.
Just lay down in your front and let me put in a graft. That's.
What was that word that you described when you
rattle? Man, if you're gonna do it properly. Ultimately, and if you're gonna go half-ass about it, you're boring.
I've rattled somebody.
We're gonna have to cut this.
Do we know this is supposed to be a conversation about Scootering, Daniel?
No, but you said mix it up a little bit, so obviously
I'm just switching gears here.
Right?
Can we? You've been with the bird.
I just do what the paper tells me.
Ask Danny one of my questions.
Fine.
Someone's got to take control in this situation.
Take the beat.
Do you know what? This is
someone's got to lay over forwards.
Binks, who is sat in the background of this whole recording, mentioned at some point that it would not be very long before Danny turned on the subject of either birds or knobbing. And
I'm a genuine guy. So.
I welcome that subject because
alas, he has managed it.
He's travelled. He's been around. He's seen the world, right. And he's probably got a lot of stories, things to sell.
He's seen the world from the same angle many, many times.
And he's been with you, so yeah.
It's all fun and games, boys.
Right, so
all right. So I'll ask one of your questions that you've carefully thought over for Danny. Danny,
yo,
I can't get the image of the back of Cedric's head out.
Now your vein's coming out.
Right, which of your own videos have you viewed the most?
Ooh, that's a sick one.
Yeah, do you know why? Because I don't think my knob.
The video I viewed the most is in my hidden folder, bro. Sees me through.
You sicken me.
On YouTube. Probably my Vex video or my Jacked video, because on my YouTube channel, when you go on it, the Jacked video plays automatically.
That don't count. No, which one do you go back and look at?
And why? And why do you go back to that video? There's got to be one that you've just seen again. Maybe it's just because you're happy with what you've achieved, or maybe.
No, yeah, I get that. Maybe like the Vex video. And we spoke about this before, because basically at that point was like the pinnacle for me with scootering or just riding generally. It was the same time as filming for Flavour, filming for Vex, and it was a shoe company, one of the first in the scooter industry. And it was one of them, where you're super active all the time. Like, I'd close the shop, I'd be with you boys, I'd be getting content.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fucking emotional roller coaster, I'm not going to lie. Because trying to think of new stuff all the time, film at different places and not lose my head. And when I look back on it, it was sick. Like, it's when I was road legal on my motorbike, I had my Mark III Golf. And I was with you boys all the time. So it was the golden days, no stress, nothing like that, despite the filming part. And it's just, I don't know, it pieced together really well. Even the lowrider bikes, remember them?
How often do you reckon you watch it?
But mate, these videos are still old. I don't honestly. I don't
go back nowadays and watch one.
Nah, but I feel like of all videos, it would be the one that I'd reference because I don't want people watching Rugby Life. I don't want people watching super old videos. But I would be like, oh, you just search my name, it would come up as maybe like the Flex or Vex video, right?
No. I mean, you just watching it. You're not referenced to anybody. You're not saying, "Oh, this is my best video." You're just watching it. You go back. You're on YouTube on your laptop, and you go, "I want to watch a video of." You got to watch one yourself to rethink memories or whatever you want to do, revisit them.
My Vex video.
Yeah.
Because it was at a point where...
There's effort as well, wasn't it? A lot of the tricks where you put a lot of effort into that video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I was filming for other stuff, so not only was it just focused on that, but
It's a cracking video, to be honest.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Sound to you boys for filming. Binks and JPOG.
Yeah, I still get back these day and age to watch the
do you know a video?
The JPOG summer chills.
Do you know one?
Yeah, the summer chills from JPOG was a dope video, and I filmed some of that stuff. By the way,
I was about to say one of his I would still go back and watch, not all the time, but maybe once, twice a year. Would be the one where you do a dono flip down the thing in MK
Reds on the 7th stage
with like your 13 or 14 wear bars, something.
Yeah,
it's just a good vibe.
The
video.
lightest scooter you could ever imagine.
It's a good vibe.
I do go back to see that. I reference that. Like, I used to ride scooters, and then
it's a nice video. So JPOG, it's up to you now. We're gonna have a couple more questions each. I reckon you can pick one of our list, or you can pick random persons or whatever.
We got random persons too.
Two more questions each. Let's wrap it up after two more each.
2 more questions each. Right. Okay. Let's have a look. I like this one. I really want to know this one as well. So this one's for you.
For
Lewis, it's for you, yeah. Scariest moment while travelling?
I feel like I've answered this question a few times on various platforms.
Everyone wants to know anyway, because when they see where you've been visiting.
Grimsby Telegraph asked me this question.
This one's from me.
Trendkill asked me this question. Is it really?
Yeah, this is, he's reading off the back sheet. Because I feel like I sort of know, but I would love to know the one where you actually felt a bit rattled and bottled by something.
So basically, a lot of times I travel, I've kind of eased, I didn't just, my first trip was never to the Middle East something. I kind of eased your way into it a bit. Yep. You go to mainland Europe, you go to Eastern Europe, then you go to Israel, which is a bit in the Middle East, but really it's just Europe. It's quite nice and normal. And then you go to whatever. You work your way into it a bit. You don't just put yourself in the depths of the world. Of yeah. And in 2017, I was on my game of traveling. I was pretty into it, and I decided I put on Facebook almost exactly 2 years ago. In fact, I could either stay in Turkey or I could go south to Iraq. I don't know if you saw that vote. Yep. But that event it ended something like 130 against 5 was to go to Iraq. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go. And because I was in Turkey for a bit, and the southeast bit of Turkey is pretty undeveloped. Not undeveloped, but it's not the same as Istanbul and stuff. It's a bit more like rural, whatever. And I was getting on fine there. I was like, oh, fine, it's just across the border. It'll be all right. Anyway, go across the border. You spend ages trying to get a lift because it's illegal to walk across it. You've got to be in a car. Which,
so are you hitching?
As a last minute travel, you've got to find someone that will drive you across. And there's a lot of groups of people with like kids crying or women crying that can't get across the border because no one's going to give them a lift.
Deep.
So you're just in this midst of things. You're like, oh, whatever. Anyway, you get across it. Yeah. Eventually, you get there at night. I got there at maybe like 9 or 10 p.m. And the way I normally travel would be, I wouldn't book anything. I'd just do it when I get there and see what happens, see what the vibe's like and stuff. Yeah. Fucking crossed the border, got there at 9 o'clock at night, realised I had no Iraqi money and ATMs don't exist in Iraq. There's maybe like 2 or 3 in the whole country. So firstly, I had no money. Phone signal cut out from Turkey because I was no longer in Turkey. I had a Turkish SIM card. Yeah. I didn't have phone signal, didn't have any money, didn't have a hotel reservation, didn't have a map on my phone, didn't really know where I was. I was somewhere in a place called Zaho in the border town, and I had no plan to sleep anywhere, and basically I was a bit bollocksed.
Yeah. Hell,
and after crossing, because it's all a bit hectic, I crossed the border. I got into Iraq, into a northern Kurdish town called Zaho, and I was sat there, and it hit me for the first time in like 48 hours that like I don't really know what I'm going to do here. Yeah. No money, no contact with the outside world, no anything at all that you need to function.
Yeah, I guess it must feel quite primal.
What the fuck have I just done? Yeah. And everyone in the streets looking at you pretty weird because you're a white guy with a backpack. Even when I crossed the border, one of the border guards, who was a Kurdish border guard, not a Turkish one, so he should have been pretty pro me going. Yeah. He was like, there's more than 200 countries in the world. Why are you coming to this one? And I was like, well, a badge on your arm. Like, I thought that meant you were going to say it's nice. And
Fucking
obviously he was just
hell.
asking questions and stuff.
Yeah,
They asked my Instagram, they asked for all my phone numbers, my home address, everything, so they could monitor me while I was there.
Jesus.
It's pretty mad.
Did you reply to any stories?
Didn't get any followers, mate.
You're doing great, mate.
But no, anyway,
No DMs
I
while
arrived
you were out
there
there,
at
no.
night time, pretty overwhelmed by the whole process because it's pretty busy. You get in a car, you get bundled everywhere, and then you sit still for a second. You go, I'm fucked here. Anyway, find a hotel eventually. Wake up in the morning to a racket outside, and there's a big political march outside.
I remember
beautiful
this.
day.
Yeah.
And then you have 9 days or whatever it was, 8 days maybe, in one of the most beautiful parts of the world with the most brilliant people. And it was my Western ignorance, maybe you call it that got the better of me when I arrived, because I was like, I'm fucked and I shouldn't be here. Next day you wake up and it's sunny and you go, all right, now everything, it's the world still. They're still humans, everyone's nice, people help you out.
Yeah.
A Turkish guy in a shop who works in Iraq changes your Turkish money to Iraqi money, is not bothered at all. Like,
Sick.
everything was fine.
Okay.
But it was that quick 5 minutes or so that I was like,
And
I'm
real
sold.
quickly on this topic, can you just relate back to the time that when you was travelling to somewhere in Africa maybe, and the thing that your missus said regarding London? You know, obviously we always worry about what it's like when you visit these places. Just to like brief, like
to remedy that point where it sounds sketchy, because it isn't. I just arrived at night time, and night time's just naturally sketchier anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
But basically, I was away in Mauritania, which is, according to the UK government, the most dangerous country in West Africa, which I didn't know till after I left. So I was I was under the impression it was just a normal country or whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty sketchy, pretty poor, normal stuff. But everyone was really good again. I met a lot of people there. And while I was there, my girlfriend was going to her mate's house in London, and she couldn't actually get to the door because the street was taped off, and she'd ring me, tell me about it, and it was taped off because someone got stabbed in London. And she kind of said it and like passed it off, and she was like, oh, I can't get to her house because someone's been stabbed, so I'm just going to go to the cafe around the corner and meet her or something. And I was there in what is allegedly the worst country in West Africa, which is one of the most volatile parts of the world, politically, militarily, whatever you want to call it. Like, everything about it's pretty sketchy.
Everything's
And
seems to be backwards.
I didn't experience that.
Yeah, there you go.
In that place. But in London, because it's home, you pass it off quite easily.
Yeah.
If I'd seen someone get stabbed in Mauritania, or someone else did, they'd come back from home, everyone gets stabbed all the time.
You think this happens everywhere.
But because it's far away.
It's mad.
If you go away somewhere, if you stay at home, if you treat that both the same way, same view on stuff, like you'd realise like England's and Europe in general is pretty dangerous compared to the rest of the world. And so people go, oh, you can't go to Mauritania, you can't go to Iraq, you're going to get stabbed, you're going to get bombed, whatever. But there's more bombings in London, Manchester, Brussels.
That's the point. I wanted you to
Munich, whatever. Like there's bombings everywhere in Europe.
It's all
Paris,
a bit mad.
Yeah.
And I don't know when the last bombing was in Mauritania. I don't think there is one. But
That's what I
because
mean.
one tourist ever had an issue, it's now labelled as a red flag country kind of thing. And
No, that's a good
basically,
point.
So essentially, people just tend to get these cognitive biases towards these other countries and stuff because you spend so long.
it's
in one
understandable.
area.
If you think about being very old people, like 100 years ago, whatever, you're supposed to not like the unknown. It makes total sense. I don't blame anyone for it. But basically, the point is people are people wherever you go. Just because they get darker skin, just because they believe in something else, doesn't mean they're going to stab you, because no one does. No one's got the time just to go out of their way to harm a stranger. It's so rare.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the world's a wonderful place, and I'm not surprised people think badly of certain places, but just go and have a look, because it's still the same planet we're on. Everyone's mint. Everyone's mint everywhere.
Facts.
Brilliant.
Can we lighten the tone a bit? I feel like I took a lot of the line.
Everyone is mint.
That is...
If
can that
If you
go on-
spend enough time with someone, they're probably going to be mint.
Everyone is mint. So,
I want that on my gravestone.
There
you
you
want
go.
everyone's mint. It's
Yeah,
all right,
that-
that.
It's all right, that. Not again. Come on.
You ready to answer that question yet?
Oh my god.
It's Danny's question now.
God damn it. Right, fine. This one's directed at Danny from Lewis, who he doesn't know what the question is. So, which one of Lewis's videos is your favourite?
Ah, that's cute.
It's cute.
Technicality.
Do you reckon?
Nah, it's up there though, bruv.
That's a pretty swift
I
answer.
hate your videos.
That's pretty fun.
Nah, joking.
And we're back.
I might resign after that comment.
You've made a lot of good content, mate. You've done bits. That video stands out just because the title and how much it relates to us anyway, and it was just creative. I love it how you focus this question on you. Selfish. That's why the relationship don't work. But basically...
No, just curious.
He all just takes in the bedroom.
Right. I'm not even going to be that 12-year-old kid that says calling the shots, but that was entertainment and people can relate.
Hell.
But if it's actually just based on you, can I say Lewis quitting life?
Yes, yes, I second that. I second
We all
that
knew
choice.
it was coming.
Lewis quits life is
What
one of the
a
best
fucking
videos.
treat that was to be behind the lens and witness him struggling.
Oh, I'm fucking dying.
I don't know how deep I'm going to go into this because we've been talking a lot, but basically,
I didn't have that much fun. Just to
Basically,
clarify.
two British boys in Barcelona in the summer when every day was about the lowest. I think the
4 million
temperature was
degrees?
about 28 degrees, but to us 4 million because the skate park, when you're landing on metal or
Oh,
plastic.
you mean the first one?
The first one.
Oh no,
The best one.
the fried egg one,
Fried egg one.
the 360 one.
I actually think we could have had a fry up in minutes if we had just took raw meat there and just spruce something up on the copings. But basically, that video stands out because I was in fucking stitches the whole duration of filming. And even though it's supposed to be for a serious video, the B-roll footage and like just behind the scenes that come from that was fucking golden. And it's not that I get pleasure out of him struggling, I do, but that wasn't the whole thing. But it was just the fact that you got a northern British bloke struggling in Barca non-stop. It was fucking golden. So that's probably one of my favourite.
Yeah, it just shows like the bare bones of actual production. Like it's the
Yeah.
other side of it, and it's just so funny.
Because we still
So
could have pieced
funny.
a sick video from it.
Yeah, sure. You could have just done all the stuff that he landed,
But
then you just tried to do
there's
the
more
opposite.
fun in behind the scenes. So
For the record, I was hoping you'd pick a video like that, not a serious one. Because my videos were shit anyway. So.
Nah, don't be like luckies.
But they were the good ones.
Yeah. But the thing
My
is about
skin's
stuff like that, and
slapping
it's the
on
same as even stuff like this, is like it's quite raw content. So
Yeah.
like it's what goes on behind the scenes. Despite me creasing in the back of every single one of them, like you obviously put in a shift, don't you, to make a good video. And obviously you was just struggling with, in my opinion, stuff that if it wasn't in Barcelona at 40-degree heat, you would have just one banged in
Maybe.
in Grit GUI and stuff like that. But the fact that I was there to witness it, film it, and then edit it was golden for me, mate. So yeah,
I think it's
Lewis,
great.
will you? Lewis, will you? That's bad. Lewis Crampton.
I'm fucking sat next to you.
Lewis Crampton quitting life.
It's
Next question.
really- it's just great to see. It's great to see the grind of making videos, because I prefer it, because I think this day and age everything gets a lot quite distorted with, you know, like Insta clips of everyone just landing this next world first, and you don't really see the process involved in doing it, because, you know, it's like, oh, this person's just
Yeah, that's a
landed
good point.
this next world first, and then boom, the next clip when I hit next on the story is the next the next world first, and you're like, damn, this person must be a machine, and you know, it sort of puts these false expectations on riders,
because when you turn up to Corby, you can't just expect someone like that to
Yeah.
one bang the world's first.
yeah, that's it, because like,
But instead you got my guy doing a 180 heel whip, falling and literally melting on the skate park. Way better than a
If
world.
you watch the video back, which by the way I'll put in the description, if you watch the video back, you'll see there's just weird bails, like the 180 heel.
Give
I just
it a
get
watch.
tangled on my front wheel.
I ain't
like
seen your body move like that ever.
I don't know how that's even happened.
It
Unless
is.
it's on the dance floor.
it is extraordinary.
All right,
you
Jake,
are a specimen in that video.
give us a final one. Pick a good one for us both to answer. We'll wrap it up.
Final question.
We've been here a while.
It's been a minute.
That
So
is off
I don't
his
know what
tits.
they're talking about with this one. This is the only one left that we actually. There's one. We could do a few, but there is one that's directed at you, that Danny, that we didn't get. Could you ride a Razor and 81 Customs bars again?
Who's it from?
This is from that same guy, Jay Hashane.
Oh my
Haskane,
days! You know
Haskane,
what? You know what's crease?
My
about?
writing is getting worse the more I drink.
What's crease about
Wait,
this?
Jake,
right?
Jake, who's it from?
Jay Hashane.
Yeah, he knows.
Butchered.
It's,
An
English,
English-
it's,
an English
it's
one.
actually bizarre, because I just want to say that when we
That hurts to say it.
when we posted the Q&As, me and Lewis like made sure that we weren't going to look at them. We gave my phone to JPOG. He then listed down the questions, so we didn't have like answers structured, because it's all about being
So we got
organic,
a
going with the
fair
flow.
few. Yeah.
And weirdly enough, today a kid rocked up to my local at Featherbed, Fev Skatepark. I don't know who this kid is. One of Brandon's friends maybe. And he basically turned up on a scooter that I had built from 2012.
I saw his picture.
He's
Showed me
seen
when
the
I turned up.
picture. It even had the Supreme scooter sticker, Razor
No.
Ultra Pro, Blazer T-bars, Blazer metal cores, and
Yeah,
had a
true.
McGray flex brake.
Blazer.
McGray, the first company to make plastic pegs, right? And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, oh my god. It was like, what were they? 4 wide? 3 point... What was the width on
decks
Razor
were 4
Ultra Pro?
wide.
4 wide. And
Yeah.
I went on it, had a few stunts, and fuck me, I don't know how I used to ride that. The first thing I thought is how this is a reason I have calluses, because I used to
'cause the
protect
grip,
me
yeah.
when I used to do finger whips
Yeah.
and the grips were rock hard.
Yep.
How did I ever lock into feeble grinds and stuff like that?
Didn't you just heel drag instead?
To be fair, yes. At that point, I think I was wearing size 11
Yeah.
fucking curb stompers, so I probably was dragging away. Read the question once more.
It was say, could you ride a Razor and 81 bars again? So literally just.
And the answer
describing
is
what the
I
deck was like
could,
in the
but I look
bars.
like a fucking idiot. And that's the easiest way to put it, because I was on it today and the first comment I heard from a local was, do a leg sweep, because that's what happened in one of the videos, and I was like, fuck off, bro, if I'd done leg day with you.
He would have like
And that's
this-
ruined me all week.
this
So,
kyphotic spine if he
The answer
used
is
that for
yes,
longer
I
than
could.
30 seconds.
but I would be fucking terrible, because I forgot how disgusting they feel. Like I'd done like a heel whip and I basically landed in hang 5, like on the head tube, and it's disgusting. I don't know how we used to ride it, but
Head
obviously,
tube angles.
yeah,
What were they?
big up though, because obviously that was the
So last thing.
So
this
wait,
question-
is this the last one?
yeah.
Yeah, the last one.
This
Let's
will
go.
be the
Let's wrap it up.
last question of this my amazing Q&A section.
Yep.
It's from J720, and
Mhm.
they asked the
Jay Miller.
the Barcelona video that you two made back in the day. Do you know what that is?
Catalonian.
It's come from Lewis quitting life. The
Oh, okay.
Catalonian
Oh,
video.
okay, so that's directly related.
Yeah, we were there.
What
Well,
sort of
obviously we were there.
I guess he just wants to know the background story of that video. You know, because I guess it was fairly new for people
12,
to be traveling
13.
out.
2012, I want to say, could be 2015.
I was on a Razor deck still, was I?
You was, yeah. It was the hill bump.
Yeah, 2012 then. I left in 2013. So yeah, we were just there. Why were we there in the first place?
They were the golden days where there was no
We stayed with
worries.
Paul
we stayed
and
with
Kareem.
Paul and Kareem. Big up to them.
That's when you fell down the mountain.
Yeah, that's when I could have died, and when he also melted his brake onto my skin. Oh no, we was actually
Character
there
building.
because we were doing
Cherished memories.
Yeah, I
Character
still
building.
got the scar. We were doing a few scooter camps with Paul and maybe Kareem, right? Do you not remember?
Was it the Eurocamp time?
Yeah, after.
Oh, it was.
We done the camps at them random skate parks.
Where we got stabbed by sea urchins. And
Well, I
led to
definitely
death.
did.
That do you know what? That one time in the sea together where we couldn't get up the rocks, and then when we did, we walked out of the sea just covered in blood from waist down.
That might have been probably the scariest moment of my life. We were getting pushed up against his rock. Bearing in mind, I'd already done a
Yeah.
cliff dive, and
Yeah.
I'd literally got jucked by something in my toe,
Yeah.
and it was like this weird shit, wasn't it? And I had to get like
A sea urchin.
Yeah,
It was
sea urchins are
but
these
also-
really spiky domes
Pricks.
of
they're just,
just
balance, bro.
pure
Balance of the ocean. They're like
asshole.
wasps in the inside.
They don't,
They're
they don't do
dickheads.
anything. What do they do?
that are really hard
The
for
only-
predators to
Absolute
get them and
hindrance.
just raise awareness. Always look for sea urchins before you
only
jump in the
thing-
sea.
If you want to
Yeah.
look for
Especially
them,
the
it's in my big
Mediterranean
toe.
because they become an issue.
The only animal in the whole world that is more pointless than a sea urchin is a fucking jellyfish.
What about wasps?
Balance.
Nah.
Wasps are pricks too, but you can just fucking boot them.
They're kind of like
Jellyfish
chavs of
you
the
can't.
sky.
You can see 'em
Wasps
coming.
are. They're just like, oh, I see you got some nice food there, mate. Oh, let's have some. Like, fuck off.
Even
And then they're just like, and then they don't even die once they once you get stung. They can
Yeah, but-
keep coming back, like fucking you up.
you can see them coming though. You can't see jellyfish.
Jellyfish are
Anyway.
minging. but-
Anyway, so yeah,
Who
that
made
was the
those
video.
transparent?
So we were there. We were there for that video, for the Catalina video. That's when we did the Quitting Life video, and we were just jamming. 2012.
Yeah, it was
I bet I didn't know you
experiencing.
very long by then. Yeah,
Nah.
maybe. We flew to Barcelona.
Yeah,
I can't even remember we flew with EasyJet. I knew everything about it still. Like,
Yeah.
it was so. I just remember that really well. It was mint time, wasn't it?
yeah, it was sick. Like I said, there was no worries. At this point as well, you was probably living in Barca for a few months with Kareem. It was around that period.
No, that's 2014.
Was
Years
that
later.
after?
Yeah, ages
was
later.
it? Oh, scrap that one.
I was just there now and again. I went with Graham, and then I came back and I went with you. I think something
Okay.
like that.
But it was the era of
I want to
life
go watch that video.
where there was just no stress, and we were helping with camps. We'd done Eurocamp. Paul was
Off his head.
Paul was out shooting, getting good content, and Yeah, it was good vibes, and
Yeah,
watching
it
him
was sick.
fall over was sick.
It
But
was just normal video like always. It was just in Barcelona.
yeah,
We were
back
stoked
then
to
we
be there.
captured it on DSLRs,
We were
not
s-
phones. That's
we
all
were
it was.
we were so like stoked to be there. We just pumped out a video, and it's hard now to get anyone to make a video on a trip like that.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do it. That's why we talk a lot about just go and make a video, because it was just normal for us. It was
Yeah.
something to do.
And you can
like-
still make
yeah.
Insta vids and phone vids. But anyway,
I kind of want to go watch that. Can we go watch it?
Let's go watch it.
I kind of want to wrap
I
up
really
and go
want to watch
video.
that. Yeah, now after,
Right.
straight after this,
So,
we're gonna go
We're off.
and watch that video.
Firstly, yeah, thank you for everyone that actually pinged us questions, and big up JPOG for
Thanks to
reading
everyone.
them out.
Yeah,
Except
thank you for
Danny,
having
who
on
asked me a
this
question.
Q&A section. This has been really
Yeah.
fun.
Cheers, JPOG. That's empty.
Yeah, sad.
Oh, bloody hell, they're all
Yeah,
empty.
cheers, man.
Alright.
That's
Cheers,
empty too.
JPOG. See you in a bit.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
Peace.
Peace.